Hello, and welcome back to our regular. Hi, my name is Julia, and this is The Struggle is Rule, and welcome back to our regularly scheduled programming. Okay, so in this video, I would like to show you how I made my garden plans for 2023 in Zone 6B. I'm going to walk you through step by step how I got to my beautiful end result. I've got 3 garden beds that I want to show you. These 3 raised bed plans that I'm going to show you today, they were made with the idea that in about a month, my garden is probably going to be close to the last thing on my mind. So this is made to be very straightforward and easy to follow for myself as well as for my followers. These beds will be pretty low maintenance as well, and they are planted with companion plants in mind to keep the pests out, so I'm not trying to have to fight pests during the gardening season or amend the soil throughout. I just want it to be as low maintenance as possible so I can spend as much time with my new baby as possible. So without further ado, 2023 garden plans, Zone 6B, let's go. So before I show you guys my layouts, I would like to show you my process and how I got there so that you can kind of see where you would personally start if you were planning out your own garden. So the first thing I do is write down my spaces that I have for gardening. But the focus of this video is going to be these 3 raised beds, each of which are 8 foot by 4 foot. Some of my garden beds already have plants in them that I overwintered and I am expecting to grow back in the spring. However, if you're starting your own garden and you don't know what to start with, I would start with something that you know you're going to eat, something that you love, and then you're going to pick companion plants that pair well with that plant and plant them around. For instance, this first bed already has strawberries and carrots planted in it. And so I looked for companion plants that went along with both of these. Spinach and lettuce are both companion plants for strawberries and carrots, so I planted a row between the two. You can plant those really close together. So we're going to get a lot out of that little row there. And then peas are nitrogen fixing in the soil, and strawberries love nitrogen, so it's good to plant those together. Flowers like marigolds, chamomile, and correct me if I'm wrong, nasturtium are great pollinators and pest deterrents for strawberries, carrots, anything in your garden really. I always plant one of the 2 in each of my garden beds. Step 2 of my creating a garden layout process, after we have decided what we want in all of our beds. Oh, by the way, I have used the planter app. I do use the planter app and put these in after I have designed my layout just to make sure I am not overlooking combative plants, because a little red dot will show up on your planter app and tell you that if you've planted something near something that they don't get along, and then you can go ahead and change that. But I'm a pencil and paper type girl, so after we get our layout the way we want it, then I take each of these plants and I write out an itemized list of when everything will be either started indoors from seed or sown after our first frost date, which right up here at the top, you always want to get that first. Zone 6B, it is April 1st to 21st, but I am going with the 21st just to be safe. So continuing on with step 2, we are trying to figure out if we are going to start our seeds indoors or if we are going to sow them outside after the first frost date or whenever the best time for each of these plants is. And the way that I have been deciding how I want to sow or start these seeds inside is honestly just looking at the back of the seed packet. It will give you directions for each individual plant. After you have read or as you're reading your seed packets, you will go ahead and write down how you plan on starting that, and that's personal. That is up to you. I have decided to mostly start everything after the last frost date just because I don't want to overcomplicate it. I don't want to have a bunch of seedlings that I'm moving from inside to outside and transplanting with a baby. I just want to stick the seed in the ground and grow it. But that is a personal move. If you want a longer growing season for your plants, feel free to start them inside, as long as you read the back of that packet and it says that this is a plant that can transplant. So now we have this hodgepodge, messy, hard to follow list of dates and when you're going to sow everything. So instead of trying to go off of this and go crazy and miss important information, I then take it a step further, and step 3, we are going to make a chronological list of dates of when you're going to start each of your plants, either inside or direct sow. And I like to keep it color-coded just so I don't miss that important information. Excuse me, sir. Now, if you don't want to plan your own layout this year and you want to just follow mine to a T, no shame in that game. Just take a screenshot of this or take a picture of your TV, whatever you need to do. If you want to use this, I'm going to give you my layouts later and you can screenshot those as well. So we have our date out here to the side. We have our type of plant. We have whether it's sown outside or indoors, and out next to the start indoors, I have how many seeds or how many cells I will be starting. And I just want to let you know that I double all of my seeds, because either they might not do well or they'll do really well and you have extra plants that you can give away to family or find space elsewhere to plant or to even keep in pots. All right, so we have our dates. Here are our wonderful layouts. So this is that first bed I showed you on pencil and paper with the strawberries, and I explained a little bit why we planted everything where we did, but I'll go into deeper detail here. Now, before we get started, each of these little blocks is 1 square foot, and I did learn a little bit about square foot planting last year. I grew stuff way too close together and it got a little bit overwhelming for me, so this year I am spacing things out more. As I mentioned before, we already have the strawberries and the carrots in ground in this bed, and I expect them to come back in the spring. However, if you do want to follow this layout, I would recommend you either get strawberry roots or pre-started strawberry plants. That is the honestly best way to sow strawberries. It's rather hard to start them from seed. And then you would start your carrots around April 1st, April 21st, around your last frost date. In each of my garden beds, you'll see that I put pollinator and pest control flowers at the end of each bed, just to kind of give them a protection zone. And for this year, we are doing nasturtiums and marigolds. We also have chamomile, which we can use as an herb. And actually, you can eat nasturtiums as well. I've tried them. They are actually pretty delicious. We also have the peas to fix the nitrogen, and we have spinach and lettuce varieties that also complement the strawberries. Well, my baby's up from his nap. Okay, so this second bed is something that I have been wanting to try since I started gardening. And, you know, it's probably not necessary to have it in a raised bed, but that is just what I have ready, so that's what we're doing. So the 3 sisters method is corn, beans, and squash. So the 3 sisters method is really cool because each of these 3 plants, corn, beans, and squash, all benefit each other in one way or another, whether it is amending the soil or the corn giving the beans a trellis to climb on. I encourage you to do some research on that. It is very interesting. Then, of course, I have my pollinator plants. I am going to have marigolds on this side and sunflowers on this side. I actually grew some red sun sunflowers last year that I just thought were absolutely beautiful. So this is really more for me so than my plants. Now, this is my first time growing corn, but I did find that you should plant the rows in succession or not plant them at the same time. Thank you. Okay, so my third and final bed is my garlic bed. I started all of this garlic last year in October, and I think it's going to be ready for harvest about August 2023. So I know that you probably didn't have your bed layout like this beforehand, so I actually did go ahead and make another option that does not include the garlic. However, let me show you what I have that I have planted next to my garlic. So I have my marigolds. Marigolds really love tomatoes, by the way. Last year I grew 4 tomato plants and I had so many damn tomatoes. I did not know what to do with myself. So we're just doing 2 this year, and we are pepper crazy. So we have 6 pepper plants. Pepper plants and tomato plants love each other, and onions also do as well. And in addition, I am planting thyme and basil in between the pepper and tomato plants. They ward away pests and improve the flavor of both of the peppers and the tomatoes. So they also like don't take up hardly any space at all. So you can just plant them wherever. Okay, so if you do not have that garlic planted, that's completely fine. You can just throw more tomatoes in there, more peppers, more marigolds. Honestly, yes. Yeah. Honestly, whatever your heart desires. Yeah. I've lost my lighting and I have help now, but anyway, I hope that this helps a little bit getting started. I hope it wasn't too overcomplicated. If you have questions, please let me know. Feel free to screenshot each of those layouts and the dates and use that in your own garden bed if this is your first time and you just want something easy to follow along with. I have found that it's kind of hard to find just a layout to copy. Yeah. Yep. So, anyway, thank you for sticking around. Yep. And I hope to see you next time. Let me know if you have questions. And also hit the subscribe button. Hit this subscribe. Why? Wait, no. I'm not ready. I got you. I'm not